If ever, the governor once said you all could come a little closer, just don't get in front of the cameras.
Yeah. Come on up. It's good to see everybody. It's a good day.
Good. Okay. Okay, it's a great morning to be in Connellsville, Fayette County. We're very excited. My name is Greg Lincoln. I am the mayor of Connellsville. On behalf of our city council and all of our city residents, I'm so honored to welcome Governor Shapiro, Secretary Dunn, Secretary Seeger, Director Regner, and Jessica Turner to be here today for this amazing event. Before we get moving, I just want to acknowledge some of our attendees that are with us today. I want to thank our Fayette County commissioners, Commissioner Lohr, Commissioner Dunn, and Commissioner Facides. We work well together, so we're happy to have them here. Our city council members, Councilman Keaty, our Councilman Topper, Councilwoman Tiberio, and Councilman Karpiak. Person who really truly does run the city is our city clerk, Vern Oler. We have some row offices members here. Fayette County Clerk of Courts, Tim Dye is here. Our Register of Wills, Jeff Redmond, is also here. A lot of the groups that I'm going to mention all work together to create this amazing outdoor recreation that we have here to offer in Connellsville. And one of the groups that does so much work for this trail is our Rock River Trail Council, all volunteers. Our Connellsville Redevelopment Authority, Michael and Paula, do a wonderful job working with the DCED and continue to get us grant monies to use here in our city. The General Braddock's Fish Club, in the 8 years they've been a volunteer group. They've put 64,000 brown trout in our river, which now we are a fishing destination. And I just want to let the governor know and anyone else that today on record, the number 1 and number 2 largest walleye in the state has been caught about a quarter mile upstream here in the city of Connellsville. So that's a pretty good record that we're proud of.
That's awesome.
And it's just because of our volunteer fish group that we are becoming a fishing destination also, not a trail. The Fay Pen is here. They actually are the ones driving force with our commissioners to get this iron bridge behind us acquired and developed into a tourist destination that will eventually connect Westmoreland County Trail System into Connellsville. And as our city clerk says, we will then be the Breezewood of the trail system here in southwestern PA. So we are very excited and very looking forward to that expansion. We really couldn't get a lot done here without the members of our Go Laurel Highlands. They have granted us a gorgeous visitor center right here that people from all over the world in all 50 states have visited and come through here on a daily basis, so we thank them for being here. The Recreational Engagement Coalition is also here. Thursa Kraus from Representative Warner's office is here. Jarrett Nagorski, I think I got that right, Jarrett, is from Guy Restenstaller's office, Congressman Restenstaller's office. And I think I've hit everybody. So I just want to continue on. So thank you all for being here on this really great morning in Connellsville. Governor Shapiro often says our state parks and forests, trails, and outdoor recreation industry are the fuel to our economy. Here in Connellsville, that statement could not be more true. Outdoor recreation has given a new source of economic development to our community, Connellsville community. Over 100,000 visitors come through the city each year on the Great Allegheny Bike Trail right here where we're standing. And probably Governor, you'll probably see hundreds of bikers starting to come through here. This is the time frame that they come through on a daily basis. Visitors from all around the world are staying on the trail at the Adirondack shelters at our trailhead and the Comfort Inn Hotel right here, newly formed B&Bs and bed and breakfast locations in our city. They eat at our restaurants, they shop in our local stores. A renaissance is underway in Connellsville. Thanks to outdoor recreation bringing visitors to Connellsville, multi-million-dollar projects are currently pending. A new event center and restaurant will begin construction in September right beside the Comfort Inn Hotel. A brewery and a restaurant located right around the corner here, being developed by our local businessman Kevin Leonard, will be under construction later this year, early in 2024. Excella Health was finishing up their $13 million health center right short distance from here that will now offer new health opportunities for our city residents right here in the city. 35 new jobs. We're very excited for their opening. This is just the beginning of what is to come here in the city of Connellsville. When we invest real money to make our natural resources more accessible for Pennsylvanians, it helps businesses grow and thrive. And Governor Shapiro has long recognized the economic benefit of parks and trails. As governor, he has continued a commitment to economic competitiveness by calling for budget investments in the outdoor recreation economy and our state parks and forests. The city has already seen a benefit from the state's investment in outdoor recreation. Most recently, we have received an $800,000 award from the DCED. Thank you, Secretary Siger, for that. And it's going to completely renovate our 12th Street Park. Should be completed by the summer of '24. In addition, the Fish and Boat Commission, not only do they give us about 8,000 trout through our General Braddock Fish Club every year, they have given us a grant to the city that will allow us to extend our boat ramp in our park that will make handicap accessible, providing fishing opportunities for many more people here in our community. Outdoor recreation has truly saved our city, and thanks to Governor Shapiro, cities across the Commonwealth will soon experience what we are seeing in Connellsville. Congratulations to Dr. Nathan Rigner on being appointed as the first director of the Office of Outdoor Recreation. We're excited for that too. We're hoping to have him back as much as possible. And thank you again to the governor for coming to the city of Connellsville and selecting our beautiful Yawk Park to share this news. So I just want to thank you, Governor, and I'm gonna bring up the Secretary Dunn from the DCNR. We actually had an opportunity to meet with her last year. We're hoping that this is going to be a yearly visit with her and her team. We love having them. They are very supportive of our community, and I'll give it over to you, Secretary Dunn.
Thank you, Mayor. I am going to have my fishing rod along the next time. Just saying, I'm pretty excited. Yeah, Mayor Lincoln, we couldn't be more excited by the work you do. When we visited you as part of the Laurel Highlands Initiative tour last fall, and we asked you what role did the Great Allegheny Passes fit in your economic strategy here? What role did outdoor recreation, what role did the Youghiogheny River play in your strategy? He hesitated for a minute, looked at me, he said, it is our strategy. And so, needless to say, all the DCNR people standing around really felt that deeply. We are so excited to be here today. I can't tell you how ecstatic the staff of DCNR are for this day and to have the governor here. When Governor Shapiro interviewed me for this job, we met in a boardroom all suited up, and he said, well, if I hire you, I don't want to be meeting with you in some room at a table with suits on. I want to be out in a park with logos on. So, Governor, I'm taking you at your word, and we've been at many parks.
I love it.
He has come to many parks. We're aiming to get him once a month, and we're pretty much holding to that. So we really do appreciate that. He really, really understands our stuff. He's been in the shoes of the county commissioners in this role. When he was Montgomery County Commissioner, he took a direct hands-on interest in connecting the trails of Montgomery County, the difficult parts and the joyful parts. So he understands the dynamic, understands the investment, understands the challenges. And so coming into this role, he really, really understands what it takes to build that backbone for the outdoor recreation economy. We're so excited from DCNR. We have all three deputies here, John Norbeck, Parks and Forests, who's managing that $112 million investment I'll be talking about. We've got Mike Walsh somewhere, our Director of Admin, who leads our green and sustainability and diversity initiatives. Mike, you know Mike. Meredith Hill is over here, longtime leader of the conservation landscapes, one of which we're standing in the Laurel Highlands. And it's so appropriate to be here in the Laurel Highlands in Fayette County, who's been a longtime partner, and to be on the banks of the Youghiogheny River. The Youghiogheny could either be looked at as like a hard to spell, hard to say river, but in the outdoor world, it's a legendary river in the outdoor world. So we're fortunate to have it come through. The rail line, of course, followed it. That's what rail lines did. And then back about 40 years ago at Ohio Powell State Park, which, by the way, begins about 3/4 of a mile that way in the trail, at Ohio Powell State Park, some managers with foresight took that rail line and made a 9-mile stretch of trail within the park. And from that, the trail grew, and visionaries like Linda Box, Linda, where are you? Linda Box built the Great Allegheny Passage piece by piece. Linda kept coming to the DCNR office and saying, well, just $1 million more, just $1 more million. I said, Linda, you said it was the last million the last time. And the great news is the investment the governor's making in the parks and forests will help us with that improvement and to complete it. The Mon Wharf Connector, finally the Mon Wharf Connector is under construction right now, and that will really ease the terminus at Point State Park, one of our highly visited state parks right in the heart of Pittsburgh. So the infrastructure along this way is so important. DCNR alone has 34 bridges on the Great Allegheny Passage going through Ohio Pile. A lot of infrastructure. And the infrastructure investment you made, Governor, in your budget and approved by our legislature, $112 million, is a strong down payment to really bring our park and forest system back to the shine that they deserve, to serve the public. Looking at John's list, looking at the park and forest list, Kinzua Bridge State Park. I was just up at Kinzua yesterday celebrating with the county commissioners of McKean and the citizens of Mount Jewett, the connector from Kinzua State Park down to Mount Jewett. As Trail of the Year, the economic benefit is brought to Mount Jewett, connecting to Kinzua Bridge State Park, highly visited, dramatic park. On the list for you, Governor.
I'll be there.
Out to Delaware Canal, 1830s infrastructure, as you might imagine, not designed with flooding and not designed, probably at the time no one was thinking it'd be like 2030 and we're worried about the same canal, but it's an important state park, 60 miles of trails serving the communities. That infrastructure will help Delaware Canal. That infrastructure will build a campground at Moraine. Moraine's in driving distance from Pittsburgh. Citizens from Pittsburgh will have an easier time getting a campsite because we're going to build a loop at Moraine State Park. A lot of investments this infrastructure is going to do. Pennsylvania can be proud. We have one of the largest, best park systems in the country. Our governor is competitive. He wants to stay in the front of the pack, and we are. We got to work to stay there. 124 state parks. We got to really bring them back to their shine. 2.2 million acres of forest land, draped with beautiful forests and streams and trails, and places to camp and places to get away, and cleans our water, serves our public, provides timber resources. And we're fortunate to have sister agencies in the Commonwealth, the Pennsylvania Game Commission, the Pennsylvania Fish and Boat Commission, that are our sisters in public lands and providing places for the public to recreate, places for the public to enjoy. Our partners at DCNR, we could not do what we do without the partners. Many of the partners here, standing here, Pennsylvania Environmental Council, Pennsylvania Park and Forest Foundation, many of the partners here helped us and the governor get that $112 million finished in the budget and other investments that have been made over the years that will be made in the future. Investors and funders like the Richard King Mellon Foundation who support the many partners that really grow out the economy, grow out the activity on these lands, support the recreation businesses. So many partners, I'll miss them if I try to name them all, but this is a broad and big partnership of government. And across the Commonwealth, you see elected officials, you see citizens pushing to really build out and support their recreation amenities. And that basis of the recreation amenity, the parks, the trails, the forests, the rivers, as the key basis is the soil and the fertility for growing the outdoor recreation business. And Secretary Seiger and Nathan Rigner, Dr. Rigner, will be talking about the economy and how you grow that economy, the business community, the ecosystem of the business and human infrastructure that can really bring Pennsylvania up and make Pennsylvania that place people want to live, work, and play. And something the governor challenges the whole cabinet to. Again, I've lost my point here. But these investments that are made and will continue to be made are critical for the base of the outdoor recreation. It leverages these resources and really makes it possible to build and grow from that. So thank the governor, thank the General Assembly for supporting the infrastructure. Thank you for supporting the launch of the Office of Outdoor Recreation. Thank you for supporting the staff resources DCR needs to really support and serve the public. The public servants of DCNR are there every day to serve the public. I'm so proud of the ones that are there every day for our citizens, the ones that are here today. And I hope, Governor, you get a chance to meet some of them. But they come to work every day with a service mentality and really the strongest workforce, I think, in state government in any state. So I'm very proud. Now it's my great pleasure to introduce my colleague on the cabinet, Secretary Rick Seiger. Just a funny story. Google him to see his auspicious background. The guy's brilliant. I got to compliment the governor for bringing him on the cabinet, and he's got a very deep and rich background. He's really quite an asset for the Commonwealth's economy and future. But I'm standing in a line in the long lines before a governor's inauguration, kind of Googling him because he's up in front of me. And the very end of it was the thing that excited me most. I saw that he'd been a canoe guide on the Yukon. So, wow, this guy's going to get our stuff. So with that, I give you Secretary Seiger.
Thanks, Secretary.
That's a great intro.
That was a great intro. That may be my favorite intro ever. Thank you, Secretary Dunn.
That was great.
Thrilled to join you today in this amazing park alongside the governor, of course, and colleagues across the administration. Thanks again, Secretary. I do want to recognize two members of the DCD leadership team here, Deputy Secretary Mandy Book and Deputy Secretary Carrie Lepore, who lead our business finance and tourism group. Thanks for being here. DCD's had an incredible partnership with DCNR for many years, and I know that Secretary Dunn and I are really committed to taking that to the next level. Pennsylvania's great outdoors offer natural beauty and a source of healthy fun for families, but it's so much more than that. And I think it's important to say that tourism, and really specifically outdoor recreation, play a really key role in strengthening our economy and our communities. And Connellsville is really a perfect example of that. As the mayor mentioned, I think it's fair to say this community has been transformed by the Great Allegheny Passage, which has turned this terrific small industrial city into a thriving hub of visitors and economic activity. And the value of new development spurred by the GAP will be in the tens of $millions in the coming years. And we're excited to work with you and support that development. That's really the power of outdoor recreation in terms of economic and community revitalization. People who live in or visit a place with ample outdoor recreation get out more. They spend money in local restaurants and bars and shops and hotels, like the one right there. That means more local businesses can thrive, which in turn leads to more investment and a higher quality of life in the community. And that increased quality of life means people and families are healthier, are happier, and more likely to stay in that community for the long term. And I want to draw a very direct connection between outdoor recreation as an advantage when we try to retain and attract people and businesses. This is a competition that's fierce, and these kinds of outdoor recreation assets really improve our standing globally in attracting outstanding people and companies to the Commonwealth. Through the creation of this Office of Outdoor Recreation, we now have a dedicated team led by Nathan, whose sole purpose is to maximize this competitive advantage. Imagine being able to take what we've learned here and replicate it in communities all across Pennsylvania. That's the goal. Under the leadership of Governor Shapiro and Secretary Dunn, I'm really excited to continue to work with the team, with local leaders, with organizations across Pennsylvania to achieve that goal. Because when we do, we know that it means a stronger economy, more vibrant communities, and a better life for all Pennsylvanians. It's now my great pleasure to introduce, I think, the man of the hour here, Dr. Nathan Rigner, the new director of the Office of Outdoor Recreation. I think there's no one better equipped to lead this office on behalf of Pennsylvania. Thanks, everyone, so much.
Thanks, Rick.
All right, go get it.
Thank you very much. Go get him, Rick.
Thank you. Good morning. What an honor it is to be here. Thank you for that introduction, Secretary Seiger. Thank you, Governor, for joining us. Thank you all for being here with us. It really is a pleasure to be here. We're here to celebrate investments in our parks and forests. We're here to celebrate the establishment of Pennsylvania's Office of Outdoor Recreation. And while I may be the director of that office, this really is teamwork. It's teamwork between DCED and DCNR with the whole of the state government, and it's teamwork with our partners on the outside. Critical to getting this office off the ground and advancing our work has been the Recreation Engagement Coalition, a group of 50 stakeholders around the state who contributed their time and energy, their thoughts, their visions for the future to get this off the ground. So I'd like to acknowledge the Recreation Engagement Coalition. Anybody who is a member of that group, please put your hand up right now and please help me thank them.
Thank you.
The insights brought to us by that coalition, along with more than 500 Pennsylvanians who participated in our stakeholder meetings, my colleagues in other state offices of outdoor recreation, our national industry partners, have helped us create this vision for our Office of Outdoor Recreation. A vision that acknowledges while outdoor recreation is a nice, well, I was going to say Saturday afternoon, is a nice Friday morning with your friends and family outside, it's also an industry and a driver of our economy here in the Commonwealth. And it's the office's job to focus on this industry, to connect our agencies within government together, and critically, to connect those agencies with outdoor businesses, with economic developers, with communities seeking to leverage outdoor recreation for their prosperity in the future. So if that's what we're going to do, how are we going to do this? Well, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to help bring organization to the outdoor industry. What does the manufacturer of a high-performance watercraft have in common with the owner of a hotel, a creative content producer, and a landscape architect? They're all members of our outdoor industry, and we want to help that industry speak with one cohesive voice and help us carry our competitiveness into the future. So we're going to organize the outdoor industry into an outdoor business alliance and develop one-stop resources. You know, as we were conducting our stakeholder meetings, we heard from guides, from outfitters, from campgrounds, from ski areas. You know, we got to get a lot of permits. We got to find information in a lot of different places. One thing the office will do for you is gather that information together, make it accessible for you, and help you move your businesses further. As we're organizing the outdoor industry, we're going to steer policy and funding toward Pennsylvania and toward Pennsylvania communities in ways that are relevant for us. I heard a story early in my tenure in this position about the Pennsylvania Wilds and their application to the EDA Build Back Better Regional Challenge. They were quite successful, but not completely successful in that effort. One of the reasons given was, hey, Pennsylvania Wilds, you're not creating enough jobs with this outdoor recreation economy that you're developing. And the response there is, it's not jobs we need in the Pennsylvania Wilds, it's people we need there. And that's a story that plays out all throughout Pennsylvania. And I share this story with you by way of saying we need to help Washington, D.C. understand what our Pennsylvania communities need and keep score based on that. As we're working to steer policy and funding and organize the industry, we cannot forget about our Pennsylvanians. While most Pennsylvanians enjoy the outdoors every year, many Pennsylvanians don't have access to them. Many Pennsylvanians don't feel welcome in the outdoors. We need to work on our inclusiveness and equity efforts around the outdoors, working with partners like the Outdoor Inclusion Coalition, who's here today, to make sure everybody's welcome in the outdoors. And as we're working on that today, we need to think about the future. We need to think about the business leaders we need in the future. We need to think about the economic leaders we need in the future, the government leaders, and build on-ramps for them to start their careers and get ready to contribute to our competitiveness. So this is what the office is going to be doing with you over the next several years. Thank you very much for the support. I know one more thing that we're going to be doing with this office is helping Pennsylvania become a national leader in outdoor recreation, and this now allows me to welcome Jessica Turner, President of the Outdoor Recreation Roundtable, to the podium as our next speaker. We have no more powerful ally in Washington, D.C. There's no more powerful leader in outdoor recreation than the Outdoor Recreation Roundtable. So Jessica, please. Thanks.
Thank you.
That's a lot to live up to. Thank you. I'm so thrilled to be here celebrating the creation of the nation's newest Office of Outdoor Recreation in the Keystone State. Outdoor Recreation Roundtable is the nation's largest leading coalition of outdoor recreation associations, representing the $862 billion outdoor recreation economy in the country. So in addition to our trade associations, we represent businesses, higher education institutions, and of course, offices of outdoor recreation like the one we're here to celebrate today. The offices got their start in Utah about a decade ago, and since then they've grown into a real national movement. From coast to coast in red, blue, and purple states, we're so excited to see how recreation offices have spurred recreation. And when you think about recreation, it's from hiking and hunting to biking and snowmobiling to boating and climbing and everything in between. It's all the things that Nathan mentioned, the things we see here and the things we haven't even thought about. But Pennsylvania's new office enjoys special significance. This is the largest state by population and economy to create such an office. And it will support the $13.6 billion recreation industry in the state, as well as the 152,000 jobs that recreation creates every year in the Commonwealth, as measured by the U.S. Department of Commerce. So on top of this, it's important to point out that the governor has also identified this office as an economic development initiative. Beyond outdoor recreation businesses, and we just heard a little bit about this, the office will help create resilient communities that can recruit and retain other sectors like tech, healthcare, finance, and more, so that companies and their employees can really come to places and desire these locations near recreation assets. They want to be where they can easily hop on a trail, where they can go to their local fishing hole or their favorite campground on the same day that they're working. Pennsylvania's own Richard King Mellon Foundation has been instrumental in helping to bolster these rural communities through sustainable and authentic, and I think that's really key, authentic economic development, partnering with groups like the Pennsylvania Environmental Council and many others. So to top off an already monumental day for recreation, we get to celebrate the state's single largest investment in parks and forests in decades, with $112 million in governor's signed budget. Due to Governor Shapiro's deep commitment to outdoor resources, access, and experiences outlined by this funding, and the myriad of outdoor recreation activities accessible across the state, we know Pennsylvania will continue to be an even bigger national leader in the outdoor recreation economy. The ecosystem of these state offices and the over 110,000 outdoor recreation businesses that ORR represents in our sphere are absolutely thrilled to welcome Pennsylvania to this network of states, making a strong commitment to this vital and growing sector. As someone born in Pennsylvania and often venturing back because of the great diversity of outdoor recreation opportunities, it's my true pleasure to introduce the governor. A fellow Hoya and a fellow avid outdoors person, I want to thank the governor on behalf of the entire recreation economy for his deep commitment to the most fun industry around.
Yes.
And we truly look forward to future outdoor adventures in the state under your leadership. And with that, I'll hand it over to Governor Josh Shapiro.
Thank you, Jessica. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Hey, Connellsville, it's a good day, isn't it? Woo. Let me thank Jessica for coming up from D.C. back to her roots in Pennsylvania. Although I would just respectfully suggest you amend your remarks in the future. We're not going to be an even bigger, more important leader, as you said. We're going to be the national leader here in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. And it's a beautiful day here at Yawk River Park, and I couldn't be more psyched to be here with Secretary Fundun. That's what we call her, Secretary Fundun. She is the funnest, I don't even know if that's a word, of all of our secretaries. No offense, Secretary Seiger.
That's true.
I love on a weekend when I get a few hours with my family, I just text her and I say, where should we go? Here's where I am in Pennsylvania. Pick me a trail and we go. And the outdoors are so important to our family, to me, to Pennsylvanians, and we're just psyched to be able to support it and really proud to be able to have a secretary like Cindy Dunn leading the way at DCNR. I think it's also really important for folks to recognize the importance of why Secretary Seiger is here. He's the Secretary of DCED, the Department of Community and Economic Development. His job and his team's job is to bring businesses here to Pennsylvania, to create jobs. Shouldn't be lost on anybody that he is here married up with Secretary Dunn in this effort because we understand a critically important way to create jobs, to grow the economy, is to make sure we marry up outdoor recreation and the work DCED does. We are tearing down the silos and stovepipes in state government that have oftentimes stymied progress, and we are working together to get things done again in Pennsylvania, and these two are great public servants leading the way. Now, I don't have to tell you the importance of working together to get it done. You heard that from your mayor. You've got all 3 county commissioners here, members of your city council who are here as well, Republicans and Democrats working together to support outdoor recreation. You know why? Because it's not a partisan issue. It's a common sense issue. And that's what we're focused on in my administration. Common sense investments for the good of all Pennsylvanians. So I'm excited to be back here in Connellsville. I'm excited to be here at Yawk River Park and to have the chance to see the Gap too. That's on my bucket list. Rich Fitzgerald's been bugging me to get on that bike ride, which I think I'm going to be able to do this year or next. We're trying to work it out in the schedule. I'm excited to ride a few miles and experience the trail for myself. You know, Pennsylvania is full of great parks and outdoor places like this, but we wanted to specifically be here in Connellsville because this is a great example of how it all comes together, how outdoor recreation can lift up a community, can create jobs and economic opportunity like what the mayor was talking about. It's also just fun. It's also just an opportunity to get outside and, lower your blood pressure and see smiles come across your face and get a chance to actually talk to your kids. They put down their phones and hang out with you a little bit. And I'll tell you something else, not to get overly philosophical here, but y'all know we live in really deeply divided times right now. Too often times you meet someone who might have a different political persuasion, or you meet someone who might look a little different than you or have different life experiences than you, and automatically those differences shut off the opportunity for dialogue and conversation. Not when you're outside, not when you're walking on a park, not when you hop on a bike and you bike a few miles. It's a great equalizer in our Commonwealth. It's a way to bring people together. Like sports, I think outdoor recreation is an opportunity to kind of depolarize our society, get people to talk again and work together again. And so not only are these investments important to create jobs and economic opportunity and health and well-being, it's also just a great way to get people to talk again, to engage again, to work again. And I just want more Pennsylvanians to have that opportunity, more Pennsylvanians to come to places like Connellsville, more Pennsylvanians to go on our trails and fish and do all the great things that Pennsylvania has to offer. You've heard the stats, $14 billion to Pennsylvania's economy every year as a result of outdoor recreation. Over 150,000 jobs just in Pennsylvania alone. When you go and you rent that kayak and you go out on the water, like my family and I did 3 weeks ago at Lehigh Gorge State Park. I'm sorry we weren't here at the Ohio Pile. We're on the other side of the state. But you're helping people go to work. You're helping them put food on the table. You're helping create an economy that is really critically important to Pennsylvania. And we see that right here in Connellsville. And you heard that from Mayor Lincoln in his comments before. I think it's also really important to celebrate the progress that we've made as we consider making more investments and celebrate the vision that so many people here have had. Secretary Fundun talked about this before. The 9 miles over at the Ohio Pile State Park in the 1980s now is home to a gap, connection that goes all the way down to Washington, D.C., that has 1.4 million bike riders on it each year. Here in Connellsville, about 100,000 cyclists appreciate the beauty of this area. And when those cyclists stop for lunch in Connellsville, that means good things for the local restaurants. It means they might pick up something at one of our local small businesses. And we're seeing, as the mayor talked about, new businesses popping up as a result of that vision from those 9 miles that now stretches all the way to D.C. You can see that connection. And it all happens because we believe in outdoor recreation and we've made the investments over time. We're strategically looking at how to continue to make those investments, continue to make those connections, and continue to see economic development spurred here in Western Pennsylvania and all across our Commonwealth. By investing in outdoor spaces and outdoor recreation, Pennsylvania has not only given people more opportunity to get outside and enjoy nature, but we've also connected communities that for too long have been disconnected. We've gotten people, as I said before, to talk again. I've instinctively understood this throughout my career in public service, and just frankly, as a dad to 4 kids, looking for things to do on the weekend and finding ways to connect with your family and friends. That's why back in March, when I unveiled my first budget of my administration, we called for a significant, historic investments in our state parks and outdoor recreation. I made that a priority in a common sense budget. And the good news is the budget I signed just a few weeks ago made good on that promise I made to Pennsylvanians back in March. We're investing $112 million to maintain our infrastructure and invest in our state parks. Hear me on this, because I know sometimes it's hard to comprehend what all that money means. It's the largest investment in our state parks and outdoor recreation in Pennsylvania history, and it was done by Republicans and Democrats coming together around my vision for outdoor recreation. That's a big deal for Pennsylvania. Importantly, it also creates a new outdoor recreation department. Under Nathan's leadership, you heard from him a moment ago, this new office is creating a strategic plan to carry us forward. That was his first official act. His second official act, he doesn't know this yet, but I'm announcing it here today, he's going to name me as deputy director of the Outdoor Recreation Office so I can lose my suit more often and get outside and hike around with him. So if you don't see me in the Capitol, you find Nathan, that's where I'll be. We're going to do great things under his leadership. And all across Pennsylvania, we're going to lift places up like this and give people the wonderful opportunities they deserve. You heard Jessica talk before about the importance of outdoor recreation across our state. We are 6th in the nation when it comes to the outdoor economy. Now, those of you who know me know, and those of you who are getting to know me, hopefully you've picked up on this, I am competitive as hell. And while 6 is good, I want to be number 1. And so how do you become number 1? You engage people like the stakeholders who are here. You make investments like we just made in this first budget. And I promise you, we'll come back and make significant investments again. You hire good people to have a vision to carry us forward, and you connect the dots for folks. You help people understand that hotel isn't just sitting here randomly. That hotel is here because we believed in this trail, because we believed in clean water that folks can fish on and boat on. It all comes together. When you reward your elected officials of both parties for caring about outdoor spaces and making sure they return to office or they gain office in the first place, it's really important to see how this all connects together. And I tell you this, if we keep doing this work, if we keep believing in one another, if we keep working together, if we keep prioritizing outdoor recreation, we're going to climb up those ranks. And we'll bring Jessica back from that fancy office she's in D.C. and have her come here and present Secretary Fundun with some first place plaque pretty soon. I know that it's in our future. I want to thank you all for welcoming me back here to Connellsville. Thank you for what you're doing for this great community. I see bright future ahead, and it's all because of our investment in outdoor recreation here in Western Pennsylvania and all across our great Commonwealth. Thank you all very much for having me here today. I appreciate you. Thank you. All right. I want to go wander around, but before I do that, I'm going to take some questions from our local media, and Secretary Vacides, or Commissioner Vacides, has agreed to take the hard questions, and I'll take all the others. So go ahead if we have any questions from the media here.
Is there any particular area that is sort of the focus of this $112 million investment, or is there sort of one big thing that a lot of it's going toward?
Statewide, we want to make sure we're upgrading our parks under Governor Wolf's leadership. We expanded our network of state parks. We got to make investments there. We want to make sure we're connecting trails and giving people the connections they need to be able to go from community to community. I've seen the power of that as County Commissioner in Montgomery County. We started about a 7-mile bike trail that went right up to the border of Bucks County, and just by virtue of the popularity of that, they connected it into Bucks County, extending it miles more. Those trail connections are really important, so you're going to see investments in upgrading our facilities, trail connections, making sure that we're committed to sustainability, cleanliness, preservation of our environment, natural spaces. All of that is going to be a focus of our investment. Anything else? Thank you all very much. We appreciate you. Thank you. Good work.